to all those who have not watched a video yet. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Jackie Monavon and I am a coach and counselor, and I specialize in trauma therapy, and I've been doing this for about 18 years. And today I want to talk about EMDR therapy and anxiety. So many people have not heard about EMDR therapy. It is profound. It's helped so many people. I wanted to hop on quick today to share with you an experience that I just witnessed at a doctor's office where I was getting lab work done. A woman came in to sign into the portal to check in for her appointment, and the portal was down and we had to sign in with a pen and a notepad. Well, there was no pen. Someone stole the pen, and I could tell the woman just start to elevate and start to get overwhelmed, start to get a little stressed out and anxious. I could just feel it building. So I observed and just watched, and she just started talking about she was here yesterday and it was closed and now the computer doesn't work, and then she's just going and completely checked out and overwhelmed, and really was in a state of crisis and didn't know how to handle anything. Not to say that she doesn't know how, she was just debilitated. Okay, let's talk about EMDR. So EMDR is bilateral stimulation of the brain. So what we're doing is we're taking our eyes and we're using different forms. Sometimes therapists will use their fingers and the patient will follow eyes back and forth. There is a platform that I use called Remote EMDR. I love it, and I work telehealth, and so the patient will watch the dots go across the screen. And what it's doing is it's tapping into both hemispheres of the brain, the right and left hemisphere. So when we have any painful life events that we don't process or don't want to look at or distract ourselves or avoid, they get stored in the limbic system part of the brain. And then anytime in your current state, if you get triggered by something or activated by something, it ignites that old memory. And so, for example, if I got bit by a dog when I was 9 and I saw a car accident yesterday and I'm in a triggered state, I'm looking at the 3 things that are activated that are left unconscious. And those 3 are the negative beliefs about myself, or negative core beliefs, the emotion that goes along with it, and how my body feels. So I call it the big 3. So let's say that at the accident I felt fear and I froze and my body became activated and I felt heavy and intense, and I felt fear, and then the negative core belief is it's not safe. And then I float back to when I got bit by the dog, and the common denominator of those big 3, I felt fearful, my body tensed up the same way, and the negative core belief is I am not safe. So EMDR is not hypnotherapy. We're not like erasing things from your brain. It's not woo-woo. It is really, really helpful. I've worked with many patients who have taken lots of fears and anxiety on a scale of 0 to 10, 10 being like the highest panic attack stages, and desensitizing and reducing that so they no longer have panic attacks. And if they still get activated by something, it'll be an initial jolt and then it evens out, and they're able to regulate and continue the things that they once were not able to do because they're crippled with the anxiety. So what is EMDR therapy? EMDR stands for eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. That's a lot of words. And what it is designed to do is take talk therapy and sort of condense it into a very strategic form of therapy that will give you results. So every time that we bring up a painful life event in talk therapy, it's helpful and it's actually important, because when we bring awareness to it, it makes that painful life event less painful. However, where do we go from there? There's no movement and growth from there. We just sort of cycle and circle into that painful life event, and then there's no other tools or strategies to perceive life differently or to act differently, because we're still caught up in that survival mode. How do you know if EMDR might be helpful for you? So what I would look at are like, what are the things that cause me to have an activated response, a reaction to something that might be impulsive, that might be fearful. It's like kind of like if I'm walking in the woods and I see a bear, I go into straight survival and I try to get myself to safety. Feels like that. You don't have time to really think about it. Same as an activating event when you have anxiety. If I have fear of public speaking, for example, and I know that I have to go to this speech, I start to freeze up, or my heart might start to palpitate. I might have like sweaty palms. I might start to have shallow breath, and sometimes in a full-on panic. Those are the things that you want to look for. What's the narrative? Like, what are the negative things that are going on in my head? It's not safe. I can't do this. I can't handle it. I have to be perfect. The list goes on, and it's different for each person. But what EMDR is going to do is going to take all of that noise and body sensation and insecurities, and it's going to neutralize that so that you can successfully move forward into the goals that you have for yourself and function at a higher level. And does it mean that anxiety is going to completely go away? No, because I believe that the human body, we need to have anxiety, and on some level, because we need to, we need that anticipation, because it helps motivate us to move forward. It's when it becomes debilitating and we start distracting ourselves with all sorts of things. It could be gambling, it could be sex addiction, it could be alcohol, it could be binge eating, it could be overworking out, like exercising a lot, anything that keeps us moving, because anxiety says, ooh, I need to be in control. Things are black and white, they're yes or no, and I need to do something that is within my control, because that tells me that I'm safe. The problem with that is that leads to burnout. It leads to just circling the drain of more anxiety, and it's just, you're not moving anywhere but in a circle, and you're actually creating more distress, more anxiety. So I decided to create this video because I'm amazed that this therapy has been around since the late 70s, and there's still so many people that do not know a lot about it. And so I thought I would share a little bit about that today and what it looks like in a therapy session. And so what would start out as talk therapy, cognitive behavioral therapy, because again, we need to be aware of what's going on. We need to kind of map that out, and we need to understand and connect the dots of how it's impacting us, where it's rooted, and we need to recreate coping strategies that will be beneficial to support you in the actual EMDR process. People often come to me to therapy and they have strategies, and some of them still work, but oftentimes the strategies that they use look like people pleasing, overcompensating, avoidance, and silence, sort of isolating, because that's the way that they learned how to do it a long time ago. That's how they learned to keep themselves safe when a painful life event occurred, and it worked. And we build upon that, and we say, okay, that's a lot of resilience, that's strength, that's all the things that led you to where you are now. It was a contributor to that, and it's not serving you anymore because you don't know how to say no, you don't know how to set boundaries, you're not achieving the goals that you want because you are fearful of what might happen if you speak up for yourself, or if you don't speak up for yourself. So we establish that in the groundwork, and so it is a process of awareness, building up your strength and your tools, practicing those, and then preparation for actual EMDR. So EMDR therapy takes about 3 to 5 sessions to reduce or neutralize a painful life event. My mentor and coach, who is wonderful, Andrew Subert, if you see this, hello, one thing is like, do no harm. That was like the most important thing, and I think that is excellent, because we have to have unconditional positive regard for the client, and they need to be able to trust themselves. And so do no harm, number one. So we prepare you in a safe and effective way that's going to give you real results. The EMDR process is very structured. There's a strategy to it. It's mapped out, and we do it in a very healthy and safe way. And again, it takes 3 to 5 sessions to reduce or neutralize a painful life event. And some of the results that I've received from clients, there's a client that I've been working with who had social anxiety, and her job required her to travel a lot and speak at events, large events, and it was debilitating, and she was experiencing a tremendous amount of anxiety and panic attacks because she wasn't able to do her job effectively, and she loved her job and she's great at it. She's a wonderful writer and speaker, and she was just frozen by this anxiety. I worked with a college student who was an athlete, and she was a tumbler, and she did a backflip and fell, and I think broke her ankle, and some other injuries occurred. And she had been a gymnast her whole life since the age of 4, and here she was 19 years old at a Division I school, and her whole life in front of her felt like it was just completely over. She was just not able to get back on the floor and tumble, and was also frozen with anxiety and panic attacks and fear of getting hurt again. And she'd had like a ton of falls, like she'd fallen multiple times. So sometimes when we think that what's right in front of us is causing the anxiety, what happens in the process in the beginning stages of EMDR is we start to unravel and connect the dots to things that are not even related to what the current life event is. So it's really helpful to work with a therapist who has an idea of what trauma therapy is and what it means. And it's not always trauma, it's a painful life event, and EMDR therapy can really help with that. And it takes talk therapy, which can be years, can be a lifetime, and it reduces that significantly with real results so that you can move on and move forward with your life. What I'm going to ask you to do, if you've gotten this far in the video, is notice your breathing. There's 2 things that we do automatically, or the body does automatically, and it's blink and breathe. And we're often not, we're not aware of it because it just happens automatically. When you're in an anxious state, you're often breathing from your chest up, and it's shallow breath, shortness of breath, and that actually is contributing to the heart palpitations, the sweatiness in the body, and increasing the anxiety, sometimes to panic. And so notice, get in tune with your body. It's, again, the most intuitive part of who you are. And just notice, put your hand on your chest, put your hand on over your stomach, and just notice how you're breathing. You want to breathe, slowly through the nose, and then hold it for a few seconds, and then release through the nose. Okay. That oftentimes can put you in the present moment and help you navigate through that. But if you are not conscious of your breathing, if you don't make an intentional effort to focus on that, then you're disconnected, right, from your body. And that's often what painful life events do. When they become activated again, we disassociate and we completely check out. And now we're just reacting instead of responding. And a reaction is based on emotion only, and a response is balancing both reason, logic, and emotion. So think about it this way. So if you're holding an umbrella, imagine yourself holding an umbrella, and it says the central nervous system. There's 2 parts to the central nervous system. There's the sympathetic and the parasympathetic. The S stands for, when I say stress, and the parasympathetic is peace. So the more activated we become by the painful life event, we've got the sympathetic, which cortisol is being driven. It keeps going. When that surpasses the threshold, the parasympathetic cannot keep up, and so it checks out. It literally deactivates from the brain, and that parasympathetic, that's the peace. That's the one that keeps the balance for the logic and the emotion. Once logic leaves the party, it's over, and you're completely only operating on emotion, and it's overwhelming. I believe that every client that comes to me is the expert. They are the leader. I am just the guide. And my hope is that every client that comes in works towards healing, and I will walk with them every step of the way. Every person's journey is different. Please click on the like. That helps me so much to help other people, and it gets the video to circulate more. Feel free to subscribe. I would even love that even more. And I'm going to leave a few links today with this video. I have an ebook that talks a little bit more about EMDR. We'll also leave a link below for consultations if you feel that you want to learn more about this and how to set up an appointment to talk more about EMDR therapy and start moving forward and having some relief, having peace, joy, confidence, whatever your goal is that you're not able to obtain right now because anxiety is debilitating or just in the way. And remember, healing is absolutely possible, and anxiety does not have to be a major player in your life. I hope you have an awesome day. Thank you so much. Until next time.